Hello everyone, welcome back for some more Let's Play Great Ace Attorney. 9:11 a.m. after a big essential terrorism attack in game. Come on guys, you did that on purpose. You could have done one more minute. No, you did that on purpose. Good morning to you, Mr. Nahodo. Good morning, Professor. Ready for today's proceedings? I hope so. I should be. Even I. There's nothing left to... Good morning, my dear fellows. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, you're here. Why, naturally. A true gentleman stands shoulder to shoulder with friends in battle at all times. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'll see you later, then. Now, Professor, we really need you to remain calm in the courtroom today. Yes, do try your hardest not to enter the witness stand uninvited again. Yes, I will. I realized it was a mistake. My dear fellows, I must interject. Hi. Oh, you're still here, Mr. Sholmes. What's the matter? Surely you've overlooked some praise, have you not? To be cast in my direction. You are 5 years old. Sorry, I don't follow. Must I spell it out? I, the great Sherlock Sholmes, the greatest detective of worldwide acclaim, arose at some ungodly hour to be here now, first thing in the morning. A miracle, you must agree. Well, if I must agree, then... As you know, my sleep is quite impregnable. Iris had to employ her full gamut of tactics. She pulled the covers off, shook me, poked both cheeks, punched me, and kicked me from the bed. Then she poured a boiling cup of her latest experimental blend on my face, and at last... I was bestirred. Well, it's a good thing it wasn't too boiling. Oh my, Iris has been busy. Iris doesn't have it in her to go that far. She's too nice. I sense the spirit of a fellow scientist. Oh no, he's becoming French. No, all these accents. I'm becoming European. One who relishes the infinite possibilities of blending tea. I'm the one worthy of praise here, not Iris. This is my victory. Sorry to cut in. Who? Oh, hi. Oh, Inspector Gregson. Good morning. Person who has an accent that's much easier to do. Gregson, my dear fellow, why the grim expression at this delightfully early hour? Oh, I don't know. Maybe because I've been confronted with a grimmer expression, eh? Dear me. Are you going to take that insult lying down, Professor? What? I don't know! Poor Professor. Anyway, here's the paperwork he asked for. What paperwork? It says secret on it. I took the liberty of requesting it yesterday. I have a feeling it may prove useful. You wouldn't believe the hoops I had to jump through to get this brought out of the archives. It's the professor's autopsy report. That mass murder... It's kind of annoying. We have Professor Hairbrain and the Professor, but it is what it is. That mass murderers who killed 5 members of the aristocracy. Or is it aristocracy? No, it's aristocracy, right? I think so. Or is it a tomato-tomato thing? Where one of them is clearly right, but we let people who say it wrong, we let them off the hook. He was found guilty in a closed trial 10 years ago now. It was all done under wraps, and he was quickly executed soon after the trial. It's all in here. Okay? Let's give that a read when we have a chance. I don't know what to say. Thank you, Inspector. Now we have a chance. Redacted for confidentiality. Pseudonym the Professor. It's... Okay, let me count the letters. M-O-R-I-A-T-Y. Ooh, James Moriarty doesn't fit unless it's literally meant to be, I think, Courtney Stevens. Courtney. That's funny. Do we know any Courtney Stevens? Courtney Scythe. What if she got married? We'll see. I don't know what to say. Thank you, Inspector. Yes, much obliged, Gregson. Us lowly lot at the yard are just doing what we can. In the shadow of the great detective of Sholmes, of course. Well then, Professor Harebrain, this is it. Today we're gonna lay all this to rest at last. I wish you the best of luck, Professor. I suppose it'll be in there today, will he? Drebber. Yes, we expect the prosecution to summon him as a witness. I'm still amazed that you managed to find him in just one day. I really owe you both so much.
Counsel and the defendant, the trial is about to resume. Kindly make your way into the courtroom at once.
Well, here we go. This is it then, the final chapter. Funny, my heart's racing a little. I've not felt this before, actually. This strange foreboding. As if something's going to happen in the courtroom that I'm not ready for. I've not felt this, yeah. But I can't let that distract me from the only thing that really matters. Finding the truth. Okay. Is it going to be the same, probably the same jury, right? They don't change the jury unless there's extenuating circumstances. That looks the same.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again. We resume the public hearing of Albert Harebrain, here present, who stands accused of murder. Are the counsels for the prosecution and defense ready to proceed?
He's in there. The prosecution is ready, my lord. The defense is ready, my lord. As promised, Lord Van Zieks had his apprentice with him. His apprentice with memory loss.
If I may, Lord Van Zieks.
Yes, my lord?
There appears to be someone standing at your side.
Hello? What? That's my capture card. He destroyed reality. What's going on? Let me fix this. Okay. I don't know what happened, but we're back. I hope my capture card's not dying. I need that, and they're pretty expensive. Yes, my apprentice, an assistant. The prosecution believes today's proceedings will see the complexity of this case rise considerably. Son of a gun, that's real cool. That's real cool. I thereby instructed my assistant to attend to ensure the smooth running of the trial. He also uses a sword. And the smooth running of liquid refreshments by the look of it. The way he holds himself, the way he moves, it couldn't be anyone else. But he's still suffering from amnesia. So there's really nothing we can do at the moment. I know, but oh, this is so very hard.
It would appear that the prosecution has done a fine job in responding to the demands of the court made yesterday. I understand you have successfully secured the engineer who disappeared from the scene on the day in question.
Yes, my lord. I intend to call him as a witness shortly.
Very good, very good. Now then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, who have been chosen at random to represent the will of the people in this courtroom today, are you ready and willing to proceed?
Of course, my lord. I'm sure we all understand the importance of doing our civic duty. I do so despise deception and deceit. I find it so very wearing.
Well, to take a man's life with conjuring trick. It is against the magician's code, not to mention the law. This is a Waluigi voice, apparently.
Any fake-sided should feel the wrath of God, if you ask me.
Yeah, what?
Oh, what voice did I give you?
We have to listen to what's said on both sides of the fence, and I'm set on one, that's it, isn't it?
Wasn't like this in my day. Wasn't like this at all. If all parties are ready to proceed, you may begin, Lord Van Zieks.
Before I do, my lord, There's a report I must read to the court. Oh? Yesterday at the Great Exhibition Grounds, the evidence of primary importance in this case, the super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine, which was installed on the experimentation stage, was deliberately destroyed in an explosion effected by an unknown person or person. Unknown, huh? The guy who openly declared to us that he put a bomb on the stage. Did that not... wasn't Gregson with us? Did that not pass through to Van Zeeks? I feel that's pretty important.
It was what?
An explosion?
This is an outrage. Yes, I read this grave news yesterday. Scarlett Johnson went in to report to my office in the evening. I read that the machine was blasted to smithers and the wreckage reduced to ashes in the flames.
I have here a photographic print of the scene, taken in the wake of the explosion. I mean, there's more. Okay, it wasn't as big of an explosion as I expected. I expected the entire, scaffolding here to be destroyed, so it shows what little remains of the machine.
Yes, a terrible business.
He did it to destroy the evidence, did he? That Enoch Drebber, who apparently is a name from Sherlock Holmes story, and has absolutely nothing to do with this character.
The court will take this print as evidence, counsel.
It's gonna be important after. Late yesterday afternoon, the protection afforded the machine by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act was revoked. However, before a thorough investigation could begin, the invention was obliterated from existence. As such, this will become a very different trial. As it stands now, with no evidence on which to draw meaningful conclusions, the authenticity of the kinesis machine will remain forever in obscurity.
Indeed, a most unfortunate state of affairs.
However, one thing remains clear. The victim's death was the result of the actions of the accused. Of that, we can be certain. For it was the accused himself who was operating the machine, and who ultimately caused the loss of control. That's not murder. And if he pulled it and someone else made it, that's not murder on him. As Lord Van Zeeks rightly says, this is a very different trial now. The accused accepts responsibility for his part in the events that transpired. He acknowledges that Mr. Aspen died as a result of the accident caused by his machine's malfunction. However, unbeknownst to the professor, he was being deliberately deceived by a pair of very clever fraudsters.
Names, counsel, if you please.
The engineer, Mr. Enoch Drebber, and the victim himself, Mr. Odie Asman. So what exactly were those two men up to behind the defendant's back? The defense intends to expose that information, thus establishing the unequivocal innocence of the defendant.
Thank you, counsels. The positions of the prosecution and defense have been clearly stated. Lord Van Zeeks, summon your first witness, please.
At once, my lord. The prosecution calls the engineer, Mr. Enoch Drebber, to the stand. I am so excited for this dude's breakdown. I hope he gets one. State your name and occupation for the court. Name, Enoch Drebber. Occupation? Hard to pin down, I would say.
See that black monocle?
Yes,
Why do I feel as though I've seen it somewhere before? Oh, you too? I had the exact feeling myself.
Your file indicates that you are currently being investigated in connection with another case. The theft of a waxwork model, is it? Most extraordinary sounding business.
But that has no bearing On the trial, I assure you, cleave it from your mind. You're familiar with the public experiment carried out at the Great Exhibition some days ago? The accused super high voltage instantaneous kinesis demonstration. Yes, you could say that. I am aware of it. There was a terrible accident, wasn't there? It was you, Mr. Drebber, who constructed the vast machine used in the experiment. Or so our investigations indicate. Can you confirm your involvement? Yes, I constructed it, in precise accordance with the blueprints. But that's all. Then the court would be very interested to hear your thoughts about the machine, I'm sure. An amazing device, if you ask me. The pinnacle of modern science, making instantaneous kinesis a reality at last. What?
Good gracious! Do you mean to say that the experiment was Monified? Is that your belief, sir?
Yes, that is very much my belief. Such a waste that it blew up. They forgot to make some text red. Those silly billies, they've been doing it almost every line.
Objection!
We've already established the machine was nothing more than a prop for an elaborate conjuring trick. We've established nothing of the sort. All that was shown during yesterday's proceedings, that the same outcome could have been produced by means of stage trickery. The defense merely proposed a method and demonstrated its feasibility. Nothing more. But...
We've procrastinated long enough, I feel. Witness, you will now give your formal testimony about the machine that you constructed for the purpose of the demonstration of the Great Exhibition.
Understood. All right. I met the young professor approximately 1 year ago through Mr. Asman's introduction. He provided me with the blueprints and I constructed the machine to his precise specifications. It was no trick. If the whole show was a fraud, it would have required a body double. Tell me, did the victim have a twin? All the spectators saw the birdcage appear above their heads, then crash headfirst into the crystal tower. A terrible accident, I grant you. Perhaps the science on which the machine was built was flawed somehow. A body double? That goes without saying, surely. To give the impression that something has moved when in reality it hasn't. It's a basic conjuring principle. The deception cannot be achieved without substituting the original with a fake at some point in the performance. But why would I be right in saying you haven't managed to establish anything along those lines? Ugh. Incidentally, the prosecution has already confirmed that Mr. Asman had no twin siblings.
It's my understanding that this witness is well-versed in conjuring artfulness. But such talents do not indicate that he was actually able to accomplish what he claims, namely the construction of what by all accounts must have been an extremely complex scientific machine.
Whatever do you mean?
Yesterday's proceedings brought the true nature of your past exploits to light, Mr. Drebber.
Indeed it did, my lord. As a swindler who preys on innocent scientists to elicit government grant money through conjuring know-how. Yes, it's true I possess considerable knowledge of stage magic. But crucially, my scientific knowledge more than matches that of any academic in the field. Investigation of the witness's workshop attests to that claim, my lord. As evidence, the police found this Royal Society trophy for young talent in science there. Yes, that's true. We spotted it there ourselves. If a hypothesis is sound, it can always be forged into a physical manifestation with sufficient skill. Though I may have sold the secrets of some deceptive wiles to sniveling, talentless scientists in the past.
You therefore assert that the explosion of the machine was...
Unfortunate accident. Or, of course, a deliberate act of murder carried out by misuse of the science.
Counsel for the defense. Your cross-examination, please.
Yes, my lord. Okay. I mean, I have an idea for the body double. We just gotta get there. Approximately 1 year ago through Mr. Aspen's introduction. Okay, tell me more. So you were already acquainted with Mr. Aspen himself? Not really. By chance. I'd seen his name mentioned in the papers. That's all. But I had no interest in his private affairs. If he was an unscrupulous investor, it was no concern of mine. As long as people pay their bills, I take up my tools and construct what they ask for. So why did Mr. Aspen approach you in particular then? Who can say? I presume because my name is associated with excellence in engineering. Not to mention excellence in fraud. Hard to gauge, but the point is, all I did was construct the machine according to the blueprints I was given. In other words, the kinesis machine was built on solid scientific principles. Yes, you might say that. Professor Harebrained certainly has a mind like no other. He provided me with the blueprints and I constructed the machine to his precise specifications. It was no trick. Okay? It's clear that you have both scientific knowledge and knowledge of conjuring magic, however. The more knowledge you have, the better equipped you are to handle whatever comes along. But your implication is that I furnished the machine with some trickery, I think. It's a possibility that we have to explore. Unfortunately, though, the machine has been blown to Kingdom Come. So there's really nothing left to explore, is there? It appears that the kinesis machine was fitted with a timed explosive device of some kind. And there's nothing left of that device either. Not a single shred of evidence remaining, I hear. He must have planned all this from the outset. But in any case, it's abundantly clear that the experiment couldn't have been a trick. All shows a fraud. It would have required a body double. Did the victim have a twin? We don't have evidence of... What if... We didn't try this yet. This lock does look very strong, doesn't it? There's definitely no way you could remove the mask yourself if it was put on you. What a terrible way to treat someone, even a convicted criminal. I know, it's starting to make me livid, actually. Mr. Naruhodo, please. I mean, just think about it. Imagine if you had an itch on your cheek all of a sudden. You'd be utterly helpless. Well, yes, that's true. But I'm not sure that warrants quite so much anger. Oh, right, sorry. Bro cares about itches a lot. Okay, I have a feeling there's a key somewhere here. And we need to find it. Maybe in one of our evidence? Again, can we open this? It's gonna be gonna be a key somewhere. We gotta find this key, I bet. Right? Oh, didn't mean to press that. Surely something about this friggin' thing seems odd.
Would you care to mull over?
No! Oh, am I odd? Oh, no. Okay, give the court an answer for about 4 months. Okay.
Rest assured, we should be happy to carry proceedings forward in your absence.
Oh, he sounds serious. I didn't mean to do that. Or he sends me back home. Didn't mean to press that. Pressed the wrong button. That's on me. But I was thinking, though. Could we use this? No, it won't appear. Okay. Well, let's just keep talking.
Hold it!
Of course, that's it. Mr. Aspen was a twin. Perhaps my learned friend wasn't listening earlier. Mr. Aspen had no twin siblings. No, I heard you before, but the thread of hope hadn't quite left me. The demonstration could have been a trick if there was somebody who looked sufficiently like the victim. But Dr. Scythe absolutely ruled that out as a possibility. It is beyond question that the victim himself, Mr. Aspen, did move from the stage to the Crystal Tower. The fingerprints found at the scene attest to that fact. So it can't have been orchestrated using someone who looked identical to Mr. Aspen then. What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? No, nothing. Just that the idea of someone who looked identical to the victim is playing on my mind. I think I know exactly what to do. The question is, how do I do it? Right? Alright, saw the cage appear, then crash head first to the Crystal Tower. Okay. He crashed head first, you say? According to the many witness reports from those there at the time, yes. Were you not there at the exhibition grounds on the day? Unlikely. I rarely leave my workshop. Yet another of your unique inventions was found at the scene. Well, it was the unveiling of a machine I'd labored over for many months. I saw it clearly with my own eyes. The birdcage plummeting headfirst into the tower. What a surprise. I believe the victim's neck was broken from the headlong fall, wasn't it? How would you have come by that information? Even an infernal recluse like me reads the newspapers, you know. According to the reports, 2 injuries were apparent on the victim's body. Yes, he'd been stabbed in the chest by a screwdriver believed to belong to the defendant, and he had broken vertebrae as a result of a fall from a considerable height. Correct. My learned friend has been doing his research, it seems. Well, I am your learned friend. Do we know which injury was the fatal one? Sadly not. Forensic science is not at a level where such things can be determined. What we do know is that the victim died having sustained both injuries at some point during the experiment, and since he was found in the birdcage with his neck broken, it's obvious that he fell from a considerable height. Suppose it's hard to deny. A terrible accident, I grant you. Perhaps the science on which the machine was built on was flawed somehow. So you understood the science, did you? Not in the slightest. Oh, right. As I've said a number of times, I'm an engineer. My job is to manufacture, according to the blueprints I'm given. I would be inviting manifold problems if I foolishly allowed my brain to digest the ideas behind them. I could be accused of stealing those ideas, for example. But how is it possible to construct a machine without really understanding the principles it relies on? Well, you're practicing law without really understanding the principles it relies on, aren't you? Very good point. Stand up for yourself, Mr. Naruhodo. The point is, the experiment resulted in instantaneous kinesis taking place. As a result, the science must be sound. Yes. And really, experimental results are all that matters when it comes to proving a hypothesis. He's certainly very sure of himself. What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, now that the machine has been completely destroyed by yesterday's explosion, it's going to be impossible to argue its authenticity one way or another. But if we're unable to establish that it was a piece of stage trickery rather than genuine science, we have no grounds on which to demonstrate Professor Harebrain's innocence. Both Mr. Aspen and the man in the stand tricked the professor and used him. They took advantage of his naivete and his unbending belief in his work, and I won't let them get away with it. And seeing as the professor is an old friend of Lord Van Zeek's, what on earth must he be feeling towards Drebber? We're back in, huh? So, I'm going to try to do my idea here. It's probably not going to work, but and this is literally just a jump in logic.
Objection!
It's not going to work. Would have to object to that last statement. No, that's not going to work. Okay. So, let's see here. It's not that. So, did the victim have a twin? From the clothing from the professor waxwork. Oh?
Objection!
No, that's again an absolute leap in logic there, right? To be like, well, he has a twin. Yes, the body double. Yeah, no, it's not. Because then I see what I need to do. How do I get there, I don't think there's anything about him here, no. Maybe we need to just pursue a different thing. Crashed on... Wait, you said head first, right? But then... There's... Wood's cracked. Okay, so first things first. Okay, so there was a thing there that went wrong. Crashed head first. Then that's wrong. We'll start with this.
Objection!
There we go. We've examined the birdcage that crashed into the crystal tower ourselves. As you can see, the cage, which is a wooden construction, had sustained damage in one particular spot. Following the explosion, it fell some 30 feet into the glass of the crystal tower. That level of damage is to be expected, surely. I agree. The damage itself is entirely understandable. What doesn't make sense is the location of that damage. All the breakages in the wood are at the base of the birdcage, not the top. What are you saying?
That's the opposite of where they should be.
That's right, my lord. The birdcage that was at the scene is damaged at its base. So we have reports of the birdcage falling headlong into the crystal tower, and the damage is at the bottom. The only way to reconcile these two facts is to accept there were two bird cages in play that day, which were at some point switched. Switched during what wasn't a scientific experiment at all, but an elaborate piece of stage trickery. Good
gracious! Explain yourself, witness.
Well, if we examine the facts, there's only one logical conclusion we can draw. The damage on the base of the bird cage clearly indicates that it crashed tail first into the tower. But multiple witness reports claim it fell head first. The birdcage materialized in the sky next to a balloon flying over the stage, following a spontaneous explosion. at an altitude of some 60 feet above ground level, which is approximately 18 meters. They keep doing this. It then proceeded to fall some 30 feet into the crystal tower in the ensuing deflagration. Witness reports amid such chaos are notoriously unreliable. But the victim's neck was broken.
Objection!
He plummeted 30 feet inside a heavy wooden cage. However he fell, it would be unsurprising to find one or two of his vertebrae crushed. Coo. A riveting, scientific analysis of events from the prosecution there. Though to be even more rigorous, you would have to say it was only one vertebra, actually. He wasn't quiet for long. I find it hard to see what's motivating Lord Van Zeeks. This witness is clearly a swindler and one who deceived a personal friend of his. If you're going to establish this deception, do it right. Sorry? I feel like that's the undertone here. Yes. And there's one more point. The defense appears to have forgotten. It obviously wasn't a trick, as a certain truth very plainly demonstrates. What?
It seems to me that the cross-examination had better continue until we resolve this matter. Mr. Drebber, you will amend your testimony with details of this truth.
Of course. We must treat the matter scientifically, after all. Nearly had him there. When he does this, I love it. It's so funny. The kinesis clearly took place, because there's nowhere else 30 feet high for the birdcage to have fallen from. What? What do you even mean by that? Yeah, what do you mean? Well, before the demonstration began, the victim was alive, on stage in front of the audience. Yes, there are lots of witnesses who saw Mr. Assman. Oh, they forgot the period. On the experimentation stage, that's true. And the victim's neck broke as a result of an impact following a fall. Logically, therefore, the victim must have fallen from somewhere. But yeah, the balloon, we've established this. The balloon that exploded was at an altitude of 60 feet. The point of impact on the tower was 30 feet up. The difference of 30 feet is therefore the total distance the birdcage fell. And there's no other location from which the cage could have fallen that distance if it didn't drop out of the sky. Ergo, the victim himself must have beamed from the stage into the sky above the crystal tower.
But trenchant scientific analysis? Dear me, every time I hear it explained, it sounds increasingly plausible.
Oh, yes. It's all very well thought out. Certainly all the spectators on the day saw it. The birdcage plummeted 30 feet through the air, I mean. Irritatingly, yes. Okay, so it's obviously with that one. Right? There's nowhere else for it to have fallen from, you say. Are you sure about that? In fact, I know you're not sure about that because you're wrong. You're Mr. Liarpants. You are a falsehood. Oh. Right there.
Objection!
Yeah, just up there. This is a diagram of the experimentation stage and its surroundings. And we know that somehow the birdcage appeared in midair before falling down into the crystal. This needed a scale to really 100% make this more clear, but I just guessed, but it's fine. We know that somehow the birdcage appeared in midair before falling down into the crystal tower. I guess it's the height of the balloon, so it's fine. A fall of about 30 feet, or 9 meters. However, if you examine the diagram carefully, you'll see that there is one other possible location from which the birdcage could have fallen. The same distance of 30 feet. No.
Well, it appears the defense has a possible explanation to put forward. Go ahead, counsel.
Yes, my lord. Of course.
You will indicate the place to which you're referring on the same diagram.
The alternative location for which the birdcage could have possibly followed the prerequisite 30 feet. Son of a gun, I can't go up there. Can I just press up here?
Take that!
If it had fallen from here, the birdcage would have plummeted the same 30-foot distance.
Objection.
Uh-oh. If that's my learned friend's claim, I suggest you demonstrate for the court personally.
And you may consider this a parting gift, counsel.
Oh no! I was so sure! Like I've just hit the deck from 30 feet up anyway now. Okay, wait, what?
Don't give me recourse to make the next fall from 60 feet up, huh? You will indicate the place to which you're
Okay. What are we doing? I thought it was just gonna be up there. Okay. What the frick are we doing? Instead of up there, are we saying he fell from here down? Or wait, are we saying we're saying he fell from here. Okay. Okay, we're going here.
Take that!
There we go. Okay, I see. I see what it's saying instead. The place I'm referring to is here.
But that's where the birdcage would have been to begin with.
Which is exactly the point, my lord. Yes, the birdcage was in the machine on the stage. But what we must also consider is the height of the stage itself.
Go on, counsel.
It turns out that the experimentation stage was built at a considerable height above ground level. I'm not doing that. If you look at the diagram, in fact, you'll see it's about the same height above the ground as the balloon was above the crash site. When the experiment got underway, the machine and the birdcage were engulfed in steam. At that moment, the floor of the stage gave way, and if we assume there to be a void underneath, which we kind of have a picture of now, this birdcage and the one seen by the audience would have fallen almost exactly the same distance. Felt like the void being there was super obvious, but to a point where I completely forgot that that'd be a revelation for them. Once again, my lord, this all points to the fact that there was not one birdcage, but two!
Objection!
My learned friend has no evidence that the stage had such a contrivance in its design. Someone is responsible for all the criminal destruction of the kinesis machine itself, it's true. However, the stage still stands. And take a moment to look at the photographic print of the scene following yesterday's explosion. Yeah, okay, we don't even need to point it out. It's like, yeah, it's right there.
Good lord! The metal grill that formed the floor of the machine is undone.
Yes, most likely blown open by the force of the explosion that destroyed the rest of the machine. The defense calls for the space below the stage to be investigated immediately. Mr. Drebber. It was you who built the kinesis machine, which means that it was you who built the two birdcage that were used to carry this deception. Whether Professor Harebrain's hypothesis is sound or not makes no difference, because it's the construction of this machine that matters. A machine designed to take Mr. Assman's life. And lay the blame firmly at the professor's door. Something that could only have been carried out by you, Mr. Enoch Drebber. Yo. Grr. Wah. He almost became a swastika. Oh no. One of these days he's gonna miss and he's gonna cut the glass itself, which itself would be kind of cool. If my learned friend has reached the end of his wild assertions. The prosecution would like to crush the defense's arguments slowly, but surely. What? Your argument fails to hold water on 2 counts. Two? Firstly, before and after the experiment, this witness went nowhere near the kinesis machine. Every relevant member of staff from the exhibition has attested to that.
But I believe members of Scotland Yard have also been on watch duty at every public experiment.
In other words, Mr. Drebber had no opportunity to switch the alleged pair of bird cages. I've already explained why he wouldn't have needed to. The nonsense with the crossbow, that doesn't bolster your case at all. The man who disappeared from the stage and the man who crashed into the tower are one and the same. The forensic investigation team's report is unequivocal on that point. And the second flaw in your assertion is a distinct lack of motive. Why would this man have wanted to take the victim's life? He had no reason to do so. Very simple. Odie Asman is the professor, James Moriarty. Mr. Drebber saw him come out of the grave, which scared him so much he had PTSD and got the white hair, which people told me is apparently called Marie Antoinette syndrome. Very interesting. Would explain her hair color in Fate. From that, he changed his life and, changed his whole look and everything. And in doing so, worked with Mr. Asman to get him killed. Right? Motive? Do I have to think of everything myself? I have here a contract provided by the witness.
What contract is this, Lord Van Zeeks?
The contract into which Mr. Drebber entered with the victim, Mr. Asman. It reads, Mr. Drebber is to receive 30% of all remunerations? Remunerations? That's not a word, you made that up. Mr. Drebber is to receive 30% of all I can't say that word! Is to receive 30% of all remunerations from government grants or other income.
30% of the remunerations? There are certainly very favorable contractual conditions.
But there was one very important provision bolted onto that clause. What provision? Mr. Drebber may only uphold this right on condition that both contracting parties are alive. Oh, would you then get 100%? Okay. In other words, if either of us were to die, the contract would become null and void. So you see, I had nothing to gain from Mr. Asman's death. The diametric opposite. In fact, no, it's not a money thing for you. Need I say more? The witness had neither an opportunity nor a reason to commit the alleged crime. In short, the possibility of Mr. Drebber having done as you suggest is nil. Look at his little stance. I was going to use a C word for that, but YouTube doesn't like that word.
It seems the defense's assertion was somewhat wide of the mark. Lord Van Zeeks, you will submit the contract as evidence, please.
Is there a key hidden in there? That'd be real nice if there was. It's true. There's no key in here. No, I can't even look at it. Hereby enters a contract with the provider, Mr. Enoch Drebber, to fund labor and materials for the construction of Mr. Blah, blah, blah. Mr. Drebber is to receive 30% of all from government grants and other income. May only uphold this on account of both parties being alive. There's nothing here for me right now. It's true. If Drebber had no opportunity to switch the birdcage under the stage with the one in the Crystal Tower, he couldn't have done it. And in any case, I have no idea what his motive might have been. There is one aspect of your argument that still holds true, however. There were 2 bird cages. The prosecution is unable to deny that. So if you're sure on the right lines, I'm sure you're on the right lines, Mr. Naruhodo. And I've no doubt there are other aspects of your assertion that are undeniable truths too.
Well, it would seem that the defense has no rejoinder to offer.
Coo. I'm Pigeon Man. Well, I must say I'm a little surprised. I came to testify about the machine I built, and instead my reputation is defiled. But the prosecution's counter has set the record straight, I think. It's impossible that I'm the culprit.
Objection.
We objected, and it's just gonna be, no! No, you! At the beginning of this trial, we believed that there was only one birdcage. Yet now we know there must have been two. In other words, there was more to the demonstration than we realized at first. I think it's abundantly clear that the same applies to the culprit. Get to the point. The stage demonstration was constructed and set up in its entirety by you, Mr. Drebber. Therefore, it's inconceivable that you had no hand in the events that transpired. Bro was mad. So if circumstances mean it's impossible that you could have carried out the crime yourself, it points to the fact that someone else was involved.
Someone else? Counsel, are you suggesting?
Yes, my lord. Mr. Drebber had an accomplice.
Objection.
An accomplice now. Well then, I presume you're prepared for what's to come? Now that you've accused not only the witness, but someone else of the most serious of crimes. Where are we going with this? If these accusations turn out to be false, then make no mistake. The prosecution will demand an equally serious punishment for your slander. God, I'm bluffing.
Well, counsel, do you intend to pursue this course and formally accuse another party of involvement in this matter?
What do I do here? Besides shit my pants. Lawyerly shit my lawyer pants. At the moment, this is a little more than a hunch on my part. I don't know for sure if Drebber had an accomplice, or even if he really is the culprit here. One way or another, though, I have to make my position clear. As a lawyer, are we gonna do Miss to spell? So what's my stance gonna be? Did Drebber have an accomplice or not? My only thought, because the only thing I could think of is Madame to spells. Because how else would you get the thing right that you need? I'm gonna name the accomplice. The defense is ready to name Mr. Drebber's accomplice. Somehow the two bird cages must have been switched. Everything points to that. Yet according to the coroner's report, that's not a possibility. But that inconsistency itself is a clue.
Counsel?
Was it a wax? Wait, hold up. My lord?
You have received a stark warning already. If you are nevertheless determined, then I must now ask you to identify this alleged accomplice by name. Why are you saving again?
Because I'm scared, man. I'm scared, yo.
So, your answer, please. Who do you claim could have been the accomplice?
All right. There's a chance it was you, and then you got killed. There's a chance it's you, and you are helping to create the likeness. There's a chance it's you, but I feel like you're a villain of the next case we're seeing early. Let's start with this.
Take that.
Music's not stopping.
Who is this person?
Someone intimately related to the crime, my lord. And someone you surely wouldn't say you don't know. Wait, are we doing this?
Yes, thank you. I'm aware of the person, obviously, but on what basis do you claim felonious involvement?
Oh. You surely wouldn't say you don't know, would you? Okay, that was not it. For a second, I'm sure you simply slipped and pointed at the wrong person, didn't you? There's no other explanation. Okay.
No slip-ups this time, please, counsel.
That was crazy because for a second it almost sounded like it was the right one. Like it was really going there. I like how he's like,
Literally, who is this?
okay. The balloon man? Did the No, it wasn't his balloon though, right? Young Prince? No. Courtney Scythe. Let's try him himself.
Take that!
Okay, nope. That's not it either. I don't know who we're doing then. Is it Balloon Man? Is it the balloon guy?
Take that!
Okay, again, wow, you must have totally forgot. Okay. Who are we doing then? Hairbrain?
Take that!
That should immediately make you go, okay, then you lose. Is there no answer? What are we doing? Mr. Drebber's accomplice. Courtney?
Take that!
No. Wait. The name of the person in question is... What's wrong, my Nipponese friend? Surely fear doesn't bind your tongue now. It's a little late for that. Wait, for real? Of course I'm afraid. After all, naming her in this capacity is definitely gonna make waves. A lot of waves. I could very well turn every single person in this courtroom against me. I'm sure it'll be all right, Mr. Naruhodo. You're Japanese. They already hate you. Thank you, Miss Sasato. The enemy always appears larger than life, but you'll appear exactly the same to the enemy. I thought she was going to be a next case sort of opponent. I didn't think we'd be going after her now, so that's why I'm surprised. All right, then. Here goes. You've kept us waiting long enough. Your answer, counsel. Now, wait a sec. No, not that one. Here's the connection. Courtney Stevens. It's right there. The person who colluded with Mr. Drebber in order to carry out this wicked crime is Scotland Yard's coroner, Dr. Courtney Scythe.
What the blazes are you talking about, Dr. Scythe?
The head of the forensic investigation team and the coroner who conducted the autopsy on the victim. Is it literally that the white hair team is all evil? We know there were 2 bird cages, so who could have carried out the switch to complete the illusion? The accident happened in front of a huge crowd of spectators, and the area was immediately sealed off. Then everyone, police officers included, were banished to make way for the forensic investigation team. When else could the switch have occurred? It could only have been in that team's presence. It's essential that the court determines exactly what happened following the incident. The defense demands that Dr. Scythe be summoned to the witness stand at once to testify.
I'm stoic.
We've got her, lad. Standing up there, dragging the yard's name through the mud.
I didn't mean to.
I know the woman very well. There's no better dead room worker out there.
Did you know that? Okay, you know what Dr. Courtney Scythe does? Like with the bodies and stuff? My mom and grandma did that. They worked with the coroner. And like my mom would tell me stories about like, well, we need to find something on this guy's bones. Here's his forearm. Dip it in acid till the flesh melts away. And we need to get to the bone. Like that was her job. My grandma would tell me about, we'd be driving around and she'd be like, oh, that hotel looks nice. Did you know that on the 4th floor, I saw someone who just killed themselves right there and the brain was splattered on the ceiling? And like my grandma would tell me this and I was like 5 years old. And like to a 5-year-old, you don't have the concept of a brain splattered on a wall. It doesn't make sense to you. So that's an image that stuck with me.
How dare you call her a criminal?
My learned friend's imagination appears to be wilder than the East End at night. Is that where the women of the night are? But the recklessness of your accusation aside, there's another grave problem with your argument. One which the prosecution demands you address at once. A grave problem? Oh my word. Who do you claim acted as the victim's doppelganger? What?
Certainly, if the birdcage containing the body of the victim was exchanged for another, that cage must also have contained a body.
And yet, no missing persons or accidental deaths of anyone even remotely resembling the victim have been reported. Which means that there was no one, dead or alive, who could have fulfilled the role of a body double for Mr. Assman. Okay, they don't put the dot after Mr. ever, or Doctor. Okay. That's true. My argument is that there were 2 bird cages, and there must have been one person inside each. But I don't know if I've got an answer to this yet, have I? What can I do to reveal how this body double stunt was achieved? I mean, I know the answer. Could I present? Could I bring up Miss to Spell? Very well. The defense will address my learned friend's concerns by revealing the identity of the person who oh, frick, I chose the wrong one. Be my guest. Give us a name. The body double and the birdcage were hiding inside the balloon that was floating up above the stage, which means that any witnesses would only have seen them from 60 feet away. So who was it that appeared out of that explosion some 18 meters above the spectators? Aha! In place of Mr. Assman in the second birdcage was... Are we doing Courtney herself? The hair!
Take that!
This person is the most... Oh, never mind. I thought with her hair down it'd be good enough, right? Okay. Okay. Hey, I thought it was kind of smart, and then she was up there and just didn't die on the way down. No. Okay, present evidence. Very well. The defense will address my... Okay. I'm presenting evidence that reveals the true nature of Mr. Assman's body double.
Good gracious, evidence! I do hope this isn't filibustering, counsel. The court is expecting a name.
If you think you have relevant evidence, present it now. The body double and the birdcage were hiding inside the balloon that was floating above the stage, which means that any witnesses would have only seen them from 60 feet away. So who was it that appeared out of that explosion? Some 18... They're specifically saying who. I mean, I know the answer. It's how do I get to it? Is there anything here for... Can I do this?
Take that!
Oh my god, it's not gonna work. We know that the victim, Mr. Assman was in the bird cage that was situated inside the kinesis machine on stage, and therefore he couldn't have been inside the second bird cage. Instead, that contains something else. What's been described as a body double, which is what fell from the sky and crashed into the crystal tower.
Yes, counsel, according to your somewhat elaborate version of events.
And that body double inside the second bird cage was in fact... Come on, buddy! Sorry, Mr. Naruhodo, you're ready for this. Just steel yourself. This must be the right one, actually, and come up with it. Thank you, Mrs. Sato. I needed that. Okay, who? I was like, did we actually not get it? As I was saying, the body double inside the second bird cage was... And as unbelievable as it may seem... That thing there... Sorry. When did we bring this? This has been in court? Did no one see them bring this up? This thing, that thing there. How did we present it so quickly?
Objection!
Open your eyes and look into mine, my Nipponese friend. They are open, Lord Van Zeeks. Oh. The joke is that he's racist. He literally had them close, though. Now, tell me, what are you playing at? Stand firm now, Ryunosuke. This is the time to show your Japanese spirit. As the court will observe, this is a waxwork model. A model, in fact, of an infamous London murder from 10 years ago. The professor...
Objection!
You started by indicating the leader, or indicting the leader of the forensic investigation team as an accomplice in this crime. And now you've moved on to indicting waxworks. Yes, that's about the size of it. But why? And why this waxwork? It looks nothing like the victim. In fact, it could hardly resemble him less. What possible justification can you give? If you want to know why, ask Mr. Drebber. What? Just days before Professor Harebrained performed his public demonstration, Mr. Drebber abducted this model from Madame Tuspel's.
Did you just say abducted?
And 2 days after the incident at the Great Exhibition, he returned it to the museum. Then, the timing...
Is this true, Mr. Drebber?
At first, I couldn't see why Mr. Drebber would have stolen the waxwork and then given it back again. But now the reason is clear. He took it so that he could put it inside the second birdcage as a body double for Mr. Assman.
Objection!
Are you hearing this, ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Are you hearing the defense's astonishing proposal? That the witness fabricated this vast machine with the intention of deceiving some wretched scientist, that he did so in collusion with the country's finest coroner, on a public stage, in front of a vast audience. And that, to effect the deception, he used a waxwork model that in no way resembles the victim. Are we really to believe this far-fetched tale? What do you decide?
Objection!
Wait! Yes, if you put it like that, of course it sounds implausible. My lord, who's this?
I need to speak, if you please. Go ahead, Mr. Foreman.
Myself? Oh, right, it was kind of an American voice. Myself and my colleagues have reached an agreement. Oh, boy.
Very good. In that case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will state your leanings for the court to hear now.
Guilty!
Great,
Guilty!
great.
Guilty!
No.
Guilty!
Okay.
Guilty!
Kill me!
I just realized she smacks with the corn down. That's pretty funny. Anyways, again, how can there be children in court? Is that allowed? Can children be on the jury? I don't think so. I don't think so at all.
So as indicated by the foreman, the jury has reached a conclusion.
I knew that was going to happen. We shall get through this, Mr. Naruhodo, as we always do. And uncover some new truths along the way, I'm quite sure. Yes, I agree. I'm going to have to appeal to the jurors as usual. And see if I can persuade them to change their minds.
The defense will now embark on a summation examination. I'm not even going to ask you. You just know you're going to do it. Are you and your fellows ready to proceed, Mr. Foreman?
We are, my lord.
Very well. In that case, I ask that you now to state clearly for all present to hear the grounds on which each of you has decided that the defendant is guilty of the crime of which he is charged.
All right, so one more time with this, right?
I've known that woman for years. She'd never be an accomplice to anything.
Are we going in a different order this time? Huh.
It's utter nonsense to think those two could be conniving with one another.
Oh dear, this is most troubling, but surely the waxwork the man stole has nothing to do with the coroner, is it?
I have my own problems with members of the police. I do not trust them much.
Yo, juror number 3 based?
I've seen no rigorous proof this waxwork was ever inside the birdcage. It's conjecture.
We have evidence for that.
Accusing someone without right evidence is not proper job, is he? He's not proper job, is he? I won't have it.
I don't know what frickin' voice I gave this child before.
Somewhat unsurprisingly, it seems the introduction of this waxwork model to the proceedings has polarized opinion.
Even that its face is obscured and its build in no way resembles that of the victim. I can only applaud my learned friend Temerity, suggesting it as Mr. Assman's body double. Yes, the applause is deafening, and yes, I know it seems extraordinary. That's the point! That's why I have a strong feeling it's actually a greater clue than anyone yet realizes. What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? I can't explain why at the moment, but I feel as though there's a specific reason why it was used, why it had to be this model. Really? A reason why nothing else would do, you mean? Yes, and I'm convinced. It's something far more significant than whether or not the model looked like the victim. Well, if that's the case, we must prevent the trial from ending prematurely at all costs. Yes, agreed. I have to find a way out of this.
If you are ready, counsel, you may proceed with the summation examination.
Yes, my lord. Alright, let's do this. Bro is just back there. Defense is rebuttal.
I've known that woman for years. She's never been accomplice to anything.
Hold it!
Tell me about her. The order of things seems to have changed around here for some reason.
I'm a copper, lad. It's a copper's discretion to bend the rules sometimes when needs meet. What's wrong with that?
Where do I start?
I've been working at the yard for 40-odd years.
That's even more than I thought.
We've only had a metropolitan police force service in town for 70 years, you know. Of course, times have changed. The public didn't trust coppers back when I started. It was rough. We had to fight crime, and we had to fight to win the public's trust as well, and win we did.
For a while.
Forensic science was in its infancy, too, even more than it is now, and she spearheaded the revolution.
Dr. Scythe, you mean?
That's right. About 10 years ago now it was, and while I was still a youngish Bobby on the meat. That's when she started making a name for herself as a top-class coroner. And now look at her, head of the forensic investigation team. And a woman, no less. Back in my day, they weren't allowed to be seen outside with their nefarious ankles. Well, you won't hear me complain. It's what we all dreamt of back then, I tell you.
Could you tell me without holding that gun in the air? Is he allowed to have that?
Guys, I feel like we shouldn't have that in court, you know. I feel like that should have been taken from him.
We're all out to uphold justice, lad. Full of him we were, full of him.
Piss and vinegar, huh? That's coming across loud and clear.
There's utter nonsense to think those two would ever be conniving with one another.
Why?
Hold it!
Tell me why. We're only just starting to understand this case. What are you reading there, sir?
The man behind those murders on Solar Pond Street was caught in 2 days flat. That's real policing for you.
That's really not relevant to this case, is it?
You're wrong there. Because it was Dr. Scythe in charge of examining the bodies. There was evidence arising from her work that led to the arrest of the scoundrel responsible.
Oh.
That's right, oh. That woman is at the forefront of this country's fight against crime. The idea that she's somehow involved in this murky business is a load of old tosh.
I thought it was up to me to press the jurors, not the other way around. Oh dear, this is most troubling, but surely the waxwork the man stole has nothing to do with the coroner, is it?
Hold it!
Why would you assume that? Well, quite simply because that unsettling swindler has no relationship with the woman, does he? True. As it stands, we don't know of any connection. Oh gosh, but it would be delightfully romantic if they were to somehow have a mutual interest in the waxwork. Romantic? A woman of society such as myself views everything in terms of relationships, you know. Well, you learn something new every day, even if you don't want to. One might wonder about a possible relationship between the defendant and this coroner woman. Or perhaps between the defendant and the handsome prosecutor just there. What? Love wins. This woman. Maybe more astute than I've been giving her credit for. If that's the woman's stance, then perhaps demonstrating some connection between the waxwork and Dr. Scythe would be enough. Yes, I agree. As soon as we have even a whiff of a connection, we'll be the first to know. Okay, well, we'll check that after.
I have my own problems with members of the police. I do not trust them much.
Can you tell me more? What sort of problems?
Let's say we run into each other on numerous occasions while I've been performing on the streets, eh?
Right, I see.
Obviously, artists such as myself cannot appear on stage as we work in close proximity to our audiences. So we perform our great magic in parks, on street corners, and the like. But the police use any excuse to make our lives difficult. Bunch of bastards. It'd be nice if they all died.
Also, can you not do that with your gun, please? Do you have something say that in response, Mr. Ottermole?
Who are you calling a mass murderer?
Oh, sorry, my mistake. Yeah, I got confused because you look like him.
I don't look anything like the man. You want to be locked up, Sonny?
Thanks, Mr. Sholmes. Perhaps we could move on. I was really wondering if you had something you wanted to add in response to what juror number 3 just said. And clearly you do. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. You are so close to aiming it at this child's head. This child. You are spinning a gun by a child. And you might be like, Tanner, you know there's such a thing as a safety. I don't think safeties existed at this time.
Back in my day, back in the good old days, it wasn't like this.
What was it like, sir? Did you guys have to ride around on dinosaurs or something?
We worked our fingers to the bone in the public's trust, we did. And by Jove, we earned it. People respected us back then.
Respected you?
No one would have called a coroner to question in them days. Coroner's report was the hallmark of investigation done right. Especially when Dr. Courtney Stevens put her name to it.
Sir, you just unraveled everything.
She was the best of the best and the apple of the force's eye.
Well, hold on a minute. What are you talking about? Who's Courtney Stevens?
Sorry. Got a bit carried away there.
Stevens is Dr. Scythe's maiden name. A maiden name? So that was before she was married.
Oh, of course. Yes, silly me. You're Scythe now, isn't it?
Stevens. Sure, I've seen that name somewhere recently.
Anyway, the point is, those were the great days of policing, not like now.
Sorry to interrupt, sir. But do you think you could change your statement to include that name?
Well, yes, I don't see why not.
Okay, so she was Courtney Stevens, legendary coroner, right? So that's what we have, right? Professor, yeah. So we go Pitt. Which one is it? Is it this one? Those two would be conniving. No. Waxwork man. Which one is the one I'm trying to do? Surely it's nothing to do with the coroner. The waxwork. No, right here.
Objection.
Perfect. Those two statements clearly contradict each other.
Good gracious. Do say what you refer, counsel.
So, juror number 2. Oh gosh, me? What can I do for you? I presume you heard what juror number 6 said in his statement. It's brought to light the maiden name of the coroner, Dr. Scythe, which in turn has revealed a connection that wasn't apparent before. Well, naturally, as a woman of society, I find such connections and relationships irresistible. But oh golly, I'm afraid I failed to see what you mean. Dr. Scythe's maiden name is Stevens, and through that name, the coroner is very definitely linked to the waxwork of the killer. The defense has evidence to prove it. My goodness, evidence, you say? How utterly enthralling.
Counsel, the court cannot overlook this last remark. I very hope there's substance to your claim.
Of course, my lord. I would ask the court to look at this. The evidence that clearly links Dr. Sight to the mass murderer known as the Professor. Nice one, yes. Bamf!
Take that!
Take that. I have here a certain autopsy report from 10 years ago.
A 10-year-old autopsy report? What relevance does that have?
It is, of course, from the autopsy of the person portrayed in the waxwork, the killer known as the Professor.
The Professor's? But the man was a capital offender, so...
That's right. This is the certification of death that was drawn up after the convict's execution. The identity of the killer was never made public, so the report gives few details. What's important is the name of the coroner who wrote it. Courtney Stevens. Oh my, Courtney Stevens?
Strike a light!
It appears that the professor's autopsy was conducted by Dr. Sight 10 years ago. And a few days ago, Dr. Drebber very deliberately stole the waxwork of the waxwork of the whole museum. He put the whole museum in there. The waxwork of the professor from Madame Tispel's. A waxwork that doesn't in fact resemble the victim, Mr. Assman, at all. And do you suppose there's some unsavory relationship between those events? Absolutely. I'm sure of it. There's no doubt in my mind that the Professor case is at the heart of a link we have yet to uncover between Dr. Courtney Scythe and Mr. Enoch Drebber. Hidden links, mysterious connections, secret relationships. This is all most extraordinary. We're surely obliged now to explore this further. Ha! One!
Quite right. We can't let this trial come to an end now. Not while there's this cloud of suspicion hanging over the art's best corner. I wasn't like this in my day. We're still here to uphold justice in the end.
Two! It's the professor. That's what links this frightful swindler in the corner.
I still hate the police.
We've seen no rigorous proof this waxwork was ever inside the birdcage. It's conjecture.
I have evidence against that. Can I present? I can't here. I gotta talk to you.
Hold it!
But you claim the whole instantaneous kinesis demonstration was a trick.
That I did. There's more than one way to pull a rabbit out of a hat, isn't there?
Sorry?
I grant you, given that this cage appeared from amidst an explosion, there'd be no need to use a real person. If waxwork had been used, the culprit could have at least had the decency to make it look like the victim.
I'm not sure exactly how much criminals are governed by decency.
The point is, if you're going to make a claim about that waxwork being inside a birdcage, you need to give us some evidence. Without that, it's just not science.
I should expect nothing less than a logical argument from a fellow of the Royal Society. But perhaps this means his mind can be changed if we manage to present suitable evidence. Evidence that the Professor waxwork was inside that birdcage. Can I produce that or not? So I'm gonna double check, but I'm pretty sure it's this, right? Because it was found in the folds of the... Yeah, right here. Yeah, we do. I do have evidence. Actually, I have something I'd like you to see, sir.
Oh? I must warn you that I firmly believe it's only wise to trust men in white coats. So give me a jet black outfit.
It's blue, sir.
I'm colorblind, but I'm not admitting to a sense of trepidation here.
You don't trust anyone in black? Looking in the mirror must be very trying. I do have some evidence that proves the waxwork was inside that birdcage, namely, a save. I need to do one of these because I already lost a bunch of points. So, but it's this. 99% certain. Yep.
What's that, a piece of glass? Though it's unusually thick for glass.
Yes, it's a piece of broken glass we found inside the jacket of the waxwork. As you say, it's not ordinary glass, though. It's very thick and clearly made for extra strength, much like the special glass that was developed for the construction of the Crystal Tower.
Crystal Tower? Holy smoke!
Exactly. The centerpiece of the Great Exhibition, where the very incident we're talking about took place. On the day in question, the birdcage fell from above and smashed through a window of that special glass.
From whence this small piece originated. Is that it?
Precisely. So what do you say? Now that clear evidence in support of the assertion has been placed before you.
Well, as I said, I only trust men in white coats as a rule. However, where the reasoning is sound, it's fair to say color shouldn't come into it. In light of what you've shown me here, yes, I feel obligated to change my position on the matter. In that case, juror number 4, you will amend your statement now, please.
Wait, just an amendment? You don't change it? Presence leaves me little doubt. Okay, it's gonna be yours, right? Accusing someone without right evidence is not proper job, is he? I won't have it. So then we could probably put those two together, right? We should probably also talk to you, even though I don't really feel the need to, but okay. Press.
Hold it!
I've gotta ask, why have you brought that corn into court with you? Colonel Cobb, he's been growing back from my farm. Picked him up off on my way into town. He's a proper nibbler, he is. Yes, the nibbling seems to be taking quite a while. Maybe it could wait until after the trial? Oh, I don't like the sound of that. You need corners at time like this. Whenever I've something big to decide, the colonels always point me in the right direction, see? You're talking about your cob of corn? Nibble, nobble, guilty, bobble. Nibble, not guilty, out. Nibble, nobble, guilty, bobble. Nibble, not guilty, out. Nibble, nobble, guilty, bobble. Nibble, not guilty, out. Nibble, nobble, guilty, bobble. Nibble, no guilty, out. I was literally destroying my mic there. It was muting me on purpose. Perhaps it's akin to fortune telling with flower petals like people do back home. Professor Hairbrain's fate is decided by a cob of corn. Could you not at least wait until we've had more time to find the truth before deciding on that defendant's guilty? Oh, I don't know about that. Me tum's all free full already. Amazing. I know it seems a little far-fetched to think the waxwork model of the professor was in the birdcage, but on blah blah blah. We know what to do. We know what to do. We know what to do. I'm good. Don't worry, Sissy. Don't worry, Sissy. We're good. Yes, the truth is, I'm sure that's the key to this, but it's the most puzzling part. We just gotta point the child in the direction of the science man. And yet I still don't trust cops. You can read a book while eating a rice cracker. I'm sure you can do this. Right, yes, I can't. I get crumbs on the book and it's embarrassing. Right, so we can go with... okay. Pit. Right there. Those two statements clearly contradict each other.
Good gracious. 2 statements you refer, counsel.
If you could put down your corn for a moment, juror number 5. Oh, you mean me? You've pointed out that it's wrong to make an accusation without evidence. The accusation that the waxwork model was inside the second birdcage on the day in question is not without supporting evidence, as the defense demonstrated to the juror sitting beside you. Oh, is that right? Would it be fair to say you didn't follow the argument? I don't understand much besides Colonel Cobb, to be honest. Of course you don't.
If I could interject here.
Please do, sir.
Now that this assertion of yours about the waxwork has been backed up by some solid evidence, it would be wrong of me as a man of science not to pursue the matter further.
Thank you. She's gonna be like, oh, we're doing that now, okay. I will be. Yep, there we go. Me too, then. Sorry. I mean, this brainy gentleman says he's right, then he must be. Say, I wouldn't dream of going against Colonel Cobb or anyone who's got stuffing between the ears. We did it. Success! If you can call it that. Again, why is she allowed to be here?
Thank you, counsel. That will do. As a result of the summation examination, the jury's overall leading has changed. 2 jurors now called guilty against 4 who called not guilty. Accordingly, the court has failed to reach a consensus at this time, and the trial must continue.
We did it! Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo. Another wonderful victory. Hooray.
Waxwork of the despicable professor, used as a body double for the victim in this quite extraordinary case. I must say it's extremely hard to believe the assertion could possibly be true. However, it would appear that it does at least warrant further investigation.
The waxwork of the professor that links Mr. Drebber and Dr. Scythe. And I'm convinced that there's a special significance to that link.
I don't know what you're hoping to prove, lad. I really don't.
The truth, sir, by using evidence and testimony. If the court is to delve deeper into the alleged involvement of the waxwork in this case, then the prosecution calls for the owner of the model to be summoned as a witness.
The owner?
Madame Tuspels.
Oh. I really thought that Lord Van Zeeks would object to this whole line of inquiry.
Very well, I concur. Make arrangement for Madame Tuspels to appear as a witness with immediate effect.
Listen carefully, my learned friend. Yes? You should know that you're on the brink of opening Pandora's box. Yeah, that's fine.
Courts are now adjourned for 45 minutes. During that time, the prosecution will summon the new witness and prepare her for taking the stand.
What do you do if, like, you go there and she's not there? Like, there's no phones at this time they could use. What do you do? Madame Tuspels, yes. I shall see it at once. See to it at once, my lord. I mean, in this case, it's someone who works at a job where you can probably know where you're going, but still, it just feels like, what do you do if you're like, you need to summon this person? You go to either their house or their work and they're not there. What if they went out for groceries? Like, I guess that's why they give 45 minutes, but, you know. Anyways, next time, guys, trial part 3. We'll be moving on with some more then. Thank you all for watching. I'm excited to see how this ends. I feel like we got 2 more for this one, personally. That's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling like we got one with Madame Tuspels and then one with Scythe, and that will be how it wraps. So I will see you guys next time for some more. Ciao.
Yo.